Have you ever felt different, like you do not quite fit in with the world around you? Have you ever had moments where you felt a deep pull in your spirit, a sense that you were meant for something greater than what your eyes can see? That is not your imagination. That is not just a random thought. That is God calling you. When you are chosen by God for a higher purpose, your life will not look like everyone else's. You will walk a different path. You will face struggles that others may not understand. You will feel a weight on your heart, a burden to seek something more, something deeper. And that is because you were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were chosen, handpicked by God Himself. And once you realize this truth, once you recognize the signs, you will never see your life the same way again. Being chosen by God is not about status. It is not about being better than anyone else. It is about being set apart for a divine assignment. When God chooses you, He marks you. He places His hand upon you. And even when you try to run, even when you try to fit into the world's mold, something in you will always feel out of place. That is because your spirit is not meant for the temporary things of this world. It is meant for the eternal. And that is why, no matter where life takes you, you will always feel that pull, that gentle whisper calling you back to Him. You will notice that certain things that seem normal to others do not sit right with you. You will feel a sense of conviction that others might ignore, because God's presence in your life is different. His voice is calling you to a higher level, to a purpose beyond what you can imagine. But here is the thing, being chosen by God does not mean life will be easy. In fact, it often means the opposite. Think about the great men and women in the Bible who were chosen by God. Moses was chosen, but he had to stand before Pharaoh and lead an entire nation through the wilderness. David was chosen, but he spent years running for his life before he sat on the throne. Esther was chosen, but she had to risk everything to save her people. Jesus Himself was chosen, but He walked the path of suffering for the salvation of the world. When you are chosen, you will face trials. You will face opposition. The enemy will try to break you because he knows the calling on your life is powerful. But here is what you must remember. If God has chosen you, nothing can stop His plan. No weapon formed against you will prosper. No obstacle will be greater than the God who walks beside you. One of the clearest signs that you are chosen is that you cannot ignore the call of God on your life. You may try to live like everyone else. You may try to blend in. But deep down, there is something inside you that will not let you settle. You will feel restless in places where you are not meant to be. You will feel a longing in your soul for something more. That is God stirring your spirit. That is God reminding you that you were made for more. Have you ever noticed that the things that satisfy others do not satisfy you? The conversations that others enjoy do not interest you? The desires of the world do not fulfill you the way they seem to fulfill others? That is because you are set apart. When God chooses you, He sets you apart from the beginning. And no matter how much you try to ignore it, no matter how much you try to run, His purpose for your life will not go away. Another sign that you are chosen is that God will close certain doors in your life. He will remove people. He will disrupt your plans. And at times, it will feel like everything is falling apart. But in reality, it is all falling into place. God is not punishing you. He is protecting you. He is shaping you. He is refining you for what is ahead. Because to step into your purpose, you cannot carry what is not meant for you. You cannot be surrounded by the wrong people. You cannot be held back by distractions. So when you see doors closing, when you see people leaving, do not fight it. Trust that God is making room for something greater. Trust that He is preparing you for the purpose He created you for. When God chooses you, He also places a desire in your heart to seek Him more. You will find yourself drawn to His Word. You will crave His presence. You will long for a deeper relationship with Him. And the more you seek Him, the more He reveals Himself to you. You will begin to hear His voice more clearly. You will begin to understand things that once confused you. You will gain wisdom beyond your years, because the Holy Spirit will be your guide. That is another sign that you are chosen divine wisdom, insight that does not come from human knowledge, but from the Spirit of God. You will begin to see the world differently. You will discern things that others do not see. You will have an awareness of spiritual things that cannot be explained. Because when God chooses you, He opens your eyes to the truth. And perhaps one of the greatest signs that you are chosen is the way you impact others. Even when you do not realize it, your presence will shift the atmosphere. Your words will carry weight. Your prayers will move mountains. Your faith will inspire those around you. Because when God chooses someone, He does not just bless them, He blesses those around them through them. Look at Joseph. He was chosen, and even in prison, even in the lowest places, God's favor was on him. Look at Daniel. He was chosen, and even in a foreign land, his faith changed the course of history. When you are chosen, your life will be a testimony. You may not see it right away. You may feel like nothing special is happening, but every conversation, every step of faith, every act of obedience is making an impact beyond what you can see. So if you feel different, if you feel like you do not quite fit in, if you feel a deep longing in your spirit for something more, know this, you are not lost, you are not forgotten, you are chosen. God has placed a calling on your life, and no matter what the enemy tries, he cannot take it away. Your journey will not always be easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments of struggle, moments where you feel like giving up. But hold on. Keep seeking Him. Keep trusting Him. Because the same God who called you is the same God who will equip you. The same God who chose you is the same God who will carry you. And in the end, when you step into the purpose He has prepared for you, you will look back and realize that every trial, every setback, every lonely night was all part of the journey. A journey that was always leading you closer to Him. When God chooses you for a higher purpose, the road ahead is not always smooth. In fact, it is often filled with obstacles, challenges, and seasons of waiting that test your faith in ways you never imagined. But here is something you must understand. When you are set apart by God, the struggles you face are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to shape you. They are meant to prepare you for the calling that is on your life. One of the greatest signs that you are chosen by God is that your journey will include divine preparation. And often, that preparation comes through hardship. It comes through trials that push you beyond your comfort zone. It comes through experiences that stretch your faith, that break you down in order to build you up stronger. Because before God can elevate you, He must refine you. Before He can take you into the destiny He has prepared for you, He must first prepare you for the destiny. Think about Joseph. He had a powerful calling on his life. He had a vision, a dream given by God Himself. But before he could step into that purpose, he had to go through the process. He was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned. To the world, it looked like his life was falling apart. But in reality, God was positioning him. God was using every single trial to mold him into the leader he was destined to become. And when the time was right, when the preparation was complete, Joseph stepped into his purpose. He became second in command over all of Egypt. He saved nations from famine. He fulfilled the calling that was placed on his life. But none of that would have been possible if he had not endured the preparation process. That is exactly how God works in our lives. When you are chosen, you will go through seasons of pruning. You will experience situations where God removes things from your life. Not to harm you, but to refine you. Sometimes that means friendships will end. Sometimes that means doors you desperately wanted to walk through will close. Sometimes that means God will take you through a season of isolation, where you feel like no one understands you, where you feel like you are standing alone. But you are never alone. God is working behind the scenes. He is stripping away everything that is not meant to go with you into your destiny. He is breaking habits, shifting your mindset, removing distractions, and preparing your heart for what is to come. Because the anointing on your life requires preparation. And if you are facing difficulties right now, if you are feeling the weight of the process, do not be discouraged. It is a sign that God is working. It is a sign that He is shaping you into the person He needs you to be. One of the most painful yet necessary parts of this preparation is the removal of people from your life. There will be individuals who you thought would be with you forever, but suddenly they are gone. There will be relationships that seemed unshakable, but they fall apart. And in the moment, it will hurt. You will question why. You will wonder if you did something wrong. But here is the truth. When God removes people from your life, it is always for a reason. Sometimes He removes them because they are a distraction. Sometimes he removes them because they cannot go where he is taking you. And sometimes he removes them because their presence in your life is holding you back from growing into the person he has called you to be. It is not rejection. It is redirection. God is clearing the path. He is protecting you from relationships that would hinder your destiny. And though it may not make sense now in time, you will look back and understand that every loss was actually a gain. Another way God prepares those he has chosen is through seasons of waiting. This is one of the hardest things to endure. We live in a world that values speed, instant results, immediate gratification. But God's timing is different. His ways are higher than our ways. And when you are chosen, he will often take you through seasons where it feels like nothing is happening. You will pray, but the answer will not come right away. You will step out in faith, but the door will not open immediately. And it will feel frustrating. You will wonder if God has forgotten you. You will wonder if the promises he made to you will ever come to pass. But understand this, delay is not denial. The waiting season is not wasted time. It is preparation time. God is teaching you patience. He is strengthening your faith. He is building endurance within you so that when the blessing comes, you will be ready to receive it. Because an unprepared blessing can feel like a burden. But when you wait on God, when you trust his timing, you will step into his promises at the perfect moment. During these seasons of preparation, you may also experience spiritual warfare like never before. The enemy does not attack those who are not a threat. If you are chosen by God, the enemy will do everything in his power to discourage you, to make you doubt, to make you feel like giving up. You may experience setbacks. You may face challenges that seem impossible, but do not be afraid. Because the fact that the enemy is attacking you is proof that you are a threat to his kingdom. It is proof that God has something powerful planned for your life. And here is what you must remember. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. No attack of the enemy can stop the plan of God. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Because when God has called you, when his hand is on your life, nothing and no one can take away what he has prepared for you. So, what do you do in the waiting? What do you do in the preparation? You stay faithful. You keep praying. You keep seeking him. You keep trusting that every delay, every closed door, every challenge is working for your good. You lean into his presence. You use this time to grow in your relationship with him. Because when the time comes, when the preparation is complete, when the doors finally open, you will walk into your purpose with confidence, with strength, with the full assurance that God has been with you every step of the way. You are chosen. And the preparation you are going through right now is only proof of the great calling on your life. Keep going. Keep trusting. Because when God's timing aligns with your preparation, you will see his promises come to pass in ways that you never imagined. When God chooses you for a higher purpose, one of the clearest signs is that your life begins to change in ways you never expected. You start to notice shifts, not just in your external circumstances, but deep within your heart, within your soul. Suddenly, the things that once satisfied you no longer hold the same appeal. The conversations you used to enjoy, the habits you once indulged in, the places you once found comfort, none of it feels the same anymore. It is as if something inside of you is being transformed, and that is because it is. God is working. He is setting you apart. He is calling you to something greater. When you are chosen, you cannot remain the same. The Holy Spirit begins to convict you, begins to stir a restlessness within you that refuses to let you settle for anything less than what God has planned. This is not by accident. This is divine intervention. It is God pulling you closer, preparing you, molding you into the person he has destined you to be. This transformation is not always comfortable. In fact, it can feel confusing. You may feel like you are losing yourself. You may feel distant from the people you were once close to. You may feel like you no longer fit in the places you once called home. But this is not rejection. It is elevation. It is God shifting your environment, removing the things that no longer align with where he is taking you. And the more you resist, the harder it will feel. Because when you are chosen, you cannot force yourself to stay where God is trying to pull you from. You cannot hold on to things that no longer serve your purpose. The discomfort you feel is a sign that you are growing. It is a sign that you are stepping into something greater. And the more you surrender, the clearer your path will become. One of the most difficult aspects of this transformation is the way it affects your relationships. When God chooses you, He changes your circle. Not everyone in your life is meant to go with you into your next season. Some people were only assigned to your past, not your future. And as painful as it is, you will find that certain friends start to fade. Certain connections start to break. People you once relied on may begin to distance themselves. And at first you may feel abandoned. You may wonder if you did something wrong. But here is the truth. When you are chosen, God removes people who are not aligned with your destiny. He separates you from influences that would hold you back. And while it may hurt now, in time you will see that every person who left was part of the process. You will realize that the removal was actually a blessing. Because God knows what is best for you, He sees what you cannot see. And if He is taking someone out of your life, it is because their presence is not meant to go where He is leading you. This shift also brings a deepening of your spiritual awareness. Suddenly you find yourself craving more of God. You want to pray more. You want to read His Word. You want to be in His presence. The things of this world no longer satisfy you the way they once did. This is because your spirit is awakening. God is drawing you closer, filling you with a hunger for Him, for His truth, for His guidance. And as you seek Him, as you spend time in His presence, you begin to hear His voice more clearly. You begin to recognize His hand in every detail of your life. You begin to understand that you are not alone, that God is leading you, step by step, into the purpose He has set before you. But with this calling comes testing. When you are chosen, you will face opposition. The enemy does not attack those who are not a threat. If you are experiencing spiritual warfare, if you are facing challenges that seem designed to break you, know this. It is because you are on the right path. It is because God has something powerful planned for your life, and the enemy is doing everything he can to stop it. He will try to discourage you. He will try to make you doubt. He will try to convince you that you are not worthy, that you are not capable, that you are not chosen. But do not believe his lies, because the fact that you are under attack is proof that you are walking in the right direction. And if God has chosen you, nothing and no one can take that away. One of the greatest weapons you have in this battle is your faith. The closer you get to God, the stronger your faith must become. Because when you are chosen, the road is not always easy. There will be times when you feel like giving up. There will be moments when you question if you are truly called. But in those moments, you must stand firm. You must remind yourself that God's promises are true, that He does not call without equipping, that He does not lead without providing. You must hold on to His word, even when everything around you tells you otherwise, because your faith is what will sustain you. Your faith is what will carry you through the trials, through the setbacks, through the waiting. And when you stand firm, when you refuse to give up, when you trust that God is in control, you will see His hand move in ways you never imagined. This season of transformation is not meant to break you. It is meant to build you. It is meant to prepare you for the greatness that lies ahead. And though it may feel like you are walking through fire, remember this: gold is refined in the fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and you are being shaped into something greater than you can comprehend. Do not resist the process. Do not run from the transformation. Lean into it. Trust that God is working even when you cannot see it. Because when you embrace the change, when you surrender to His plan, you will step into the fullness of what He has called you to be. You are chosen. You are set apart, and your transformation is only the beginning of the incredible journey God has prepared for you. When God chooses you for a higher purpose, you will begin to experience a deep inner calling that cannot be ignored. It is not just a fleeting thought or a momentary inspiration. It is a persistent pull on your soul, a feeling that you were meant for something greater. You may not fully understand it yet. You may not see the entire picture. But you know deep inside that God is preparing you for something beyond your imagination. This calling does not always come with immediate clarity. At first, it may feel like a restlessness, a sense that you are outgrowing the life you once knew. The things that once satisfied you no longer do. The places you once felt comfortable in no longer bring peace. You start to feel disconnected from your old ways, and it can be unsettling. But this is a sign that God is shifting you, calling you to step into a new season. He is pulling you away from what is familiar, not to harm you, but to prepare you for the work He has set before you. One of the most common signs of this calling is a heightened awareness of God's voice. You begin to hear Him more clearly, not just in church, not just in moments of prayer, but in everyday life. His presence becomes undeniable. You see His hand in situations that you once dismissed as coincidences. You feel His guidance in decisions that you once struggled with. And as you listen, as you obey, you begin to notice a transformation happening within you. Your heart starts to change. Your desires shift. The things of this world lose their appeal, and your hunger for God increases. You crave more of His presence. You long for deeper wisdom. You want to understand His will, to walk in His purpose, to be used for His glory. This hunger is not something you can create on your own. It is placed inside you by God. It is His way of drawing you closer, of preparing you for the path He has designed specifically for you. But this calling also comes with challenges. When God sets you apart, not everyone will understand. Some people will question your journey. Some will doubt your decisions. You may even face opposition from those closest to you. This is because your calling is not meant to make sense to everyone. It is a divine assignment, and not everyone is meant to see it. There will be moments when you feel alone, moments when you wonder if you are on the right path. But this is where faith comes in. You must trust that God knows what He is doing even when others do not. You must stand firm in your purpose even when the world does not validate it. Because the truth is, when God chooses you, He also equips you. He gives you everything you need to fulfill your calling. And if He has placed this desire in your heart, He will make a way for it to come to pass. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for everything to be perfect before stepping into their calling. They think they need to have all the answers, all the resources, all the skills. If you wait until you feel ready, you will never start. Because the truth is, stepping into your purpose requires faith. It requires obedience. It requires a willingness to trust God, even when you do not have all the details. Abraham did not know where he was going when God called him to leave his homeland. Moses did not feel capable when God chose him to lead Israel. David was just a shepherd when he was anointed king. But they all had one thing in common. They obeyed. They trusted. They followed God even when the path was unclear. And because of their faith, they stepped into their divine destiny. This is what God is calling you to do. To trust Him. To walk by faith, not by sight. To take the first step even when you do not see the whole staircase. Because the truth is, God's plan for your life is bigger than anything you could ever imagine. It is greater than your fears, greater than your doubts, greater than your past mistakes. But in order to step into that plan, you must be willing to let go of what is holding you back. You must release the fear, the hesitation, the excuses. You must surrender fully to God, allowing Him to lead you, to shape you, to use you in ways you never thought possible. This surrender is not always easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires a commitment to seek God above all else. There will be days when you feel unworthy. Days when you wonder if you are truly chosen. Days when the enemy whispers lies, telling you that you are not good enough, that you are not capable, that you are not ready. But do not believe those lies. Because the fact that you are even questioning your purpose is proof that God has placed something great inside of you. The enemy does not attack those who are not a threat. If you are feeling resistance, it is because you are stepping into something powerful. And that is why you must keep going. You must press on. You must hold on to God's promises, even when everything around you tells you otherwise. One of the best ways to strengthen your faith during this journey is to spend time in God's presence, to pray without ceasing, to immerse yourself in His Word. Because the more time you spend with God, the clearer His voice becomes. The more you seek Him, the more He reveals. And as you walk in obedience, as you step into your purpose, you will begin to see His hand move in ways you never imagined. Doors will open that no man can shut. Opportunities will come that you never expected. And you will realize that everything you went through, the challenges, the struggles, the moments of doubt, were all preparing you for this very moment. God does not make mistakes. If He has called you, it is for a reason. If He has chosen you, it is because He has something incredible planned for your life. Do not let fear hold you back. Do not let doubt keep you from stepping into your destiny. Because when you fully surrender to God, when you embrace His calling, when you walk in faith, you will see the fullness of His promises come to pass. And you will understand that every step, every challenge, every moment of uncertainty was leading you to exactly where you were meant to be. You are chosen, you are called, and your time is now. When God calls you for a higher purpose, He begins to refine you. He starts working on the areas of your life that need transformation. You may notice that certain habits, mindsets, or relationships no longer align with where He is taking you. This process can be uncomfortable, even painful, because God is removing anything that could hinder your growth. Just as a potter molds clay, shaping it with precision and care, God is molding you. He is stripping away the distractions, the weaknesses, the things that do not serve His plan for your life. And while this process may feel like loss, it is actually preparation. God is making room for something greater. He is strengthening your faith, building your character, and teaching you how to rely on Him completely. One of the ways God refines you is by leading you through seasons of waiting. You may feel ready to step into your purpose right now, but God knows the exact timing. He is not delaying you, He is developing you. In these moments of waiting, it is easy to grow frustrated, to wonder if God has forgotten you. But this waiting season is crucial. It is where your faith is tested, where your trust in God is deepened. When you learn to be faithful in the waiting, you prove to God that you are ready for what is ahead. Many of the greatest figures in the Bible went through long periods of waiting before stepping into their divine calling. Joseph had a dream of leadership, but he had to endure years of slavery and imprisonment before God elevated him. David was anointed king, but he spent years in the wilderness before he sat on the throne. Even Jesus, though He was the Son of God, spent 30 years in preparation before He began His ministry. So if you are in a season of waiting, do not lose hope. God is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Another sign that God is calling you for a higher purpose is that He places a burden on your heart. This burden is not a weight of despair, but a divine passion for something beyond yourself. It may be a calling to serve, to lead, to preach, to create, or to help others in a specific way. This burden is what keeps you up at night, what stirs your spirit, what makes you feel most alive. It is God's way of revealing your purpose. When you feel this burden, do not ignore it. Pray about it. Ask God for wisdom and direction. Because this burden is not accidental, it is a sign of your divine assignment. It is what God has created you to do. But stepping into your purpose requires obedience. It requires taking action, even when you feel unprepared. Many people wait for a grand moment of revelation, a supernatural sign from heaven before they start moving. But often God's calling becomes clear as you step out in faith. When Peter saw Jesus walking on water, he could have stayed in the boat, waiting for more confirmation. But instead, he stepped out. He walked on water because he obeyed the call of Jesus. That same principle applies to your life. If God is calling you, He will not give you every detail up front. He will ask you to trust Him, to take the first step, even when you cannot see the whole path. This step of faith is where many people hesitate. They feel unqualified, unworthy, incapable. But remember this, God does not call the equipped, He equips the called. Look at Moses. He doubted himself, telling God that he was not a good speaker. Look at Gideon. He saw himself as weak and insignificant. Look at Paul. He had a past filled with mistakes. Yet God used all of them powerfully because they chose to obey. If God has placed a calling on your life, He will give you everything you need to fulfill it. Do not let fear stop you. Do not let insecurity hold you back. Because when you step out in faith, God meets you there. He strengthens you. He provides for you. He opens doors that no man can shut. But walking in your calling also requires discipline. Many people have a calling, but few are willing to do what it takes to fulfill it. It requires commitment, consistency, and a willingness to grow. If God has called you to preach, study His Word daily. If He has called you to lead, develop the skills needed to lead well. If He has called you to create, use your gifts with excellence. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Start preparing now, because when the opportunity comes, you must be ready. Too many people miss their calling because they did not prepare in the waiting season. Do not let that be you. Be faithful where you are, and God will take care of the rest. Another key to stepping into your purpose is surrounding yourself with the right people. The people in your life can either propel you forward or hold you back. If you are called by God, you cannot afford to be surrounded by negativity, doubt, or distractions. Seek out people who challenge you to grow, who encourage your faith, who push you closer to God. Because iron sharpens iron, and if you want to walk in your calling, you need people who will sharpen you, not dull you. Finally, never forget that your calling is not about you, it is about God. It is about His kingdom, His glory, His plan. When you say yes to God's purpose, you are saying yes to a life of impact. You are choosing to be a vessel, a servant, a light in a dark world. This calling will not always be easy. There will be challenges. There will be opposition. But if you stay close to God, if you remain faithful, He will guide you every step of the way. And one day you will look back and realize that every trial, every delay, every sacrifice was worth it because you fulfilled the purpose for which you were created. When God chooses you for a higher purpose, you will notice that your life begins to shift in ways you never expected. He will start positioning you in places that challenge you, stretching your faith, and pulling you out of your comfort zone. At times, it may feel like you are walking through unfamiliar territory, facing obstacles that seem insurmountable. But this is all part of His divine process. God never calls anyone to greatness without first preparing them through trials. Look at the lives of those He called in the Bible: Abraham, Moses, Joseph, David. None of them stepped into their purpose easily. They all had to walk through seasons of testing, refinement, and even isolation before they could fully embrace their divine assignment. And the same is true for you. One of the clearest signs that God has chosen you is that you will experience spiritual warfare. The enemy does not attack those who are stagnant, those who are not a threat. He attacks those who are moving toward their destiny. If you have been facing unexpected struggles, opposition, or trials that seem to come out of nowhere, do not be discouraged. It is not a sign that you are failing. It is confirmation that you are on the right path. The closer you get to your divine calling, the harder the enemy will try to stop you. But here's what you need to remember. No attack, no weapon, no scheme of the enemy can stop what God has ordained for your life. The enemy may try to discourage you, to plant seeds of doubt, to make you question whether you are truly called. But you must stand firm in faith, knowing that if God has chosen you, He will also protect you, equip you, and lead you to victory. Another sign that you are called for a higher purpose is that you will feel an unshakable restlessness in your spirit. You may have tried to fit into the world's mold, chasing after success, validation, or comfort, but nothing truly satisfies you. That is because you were created for more. When God has chosen you, He places a divine hunger in your heart, an unquenchable thirst for something greater than yourself. You may feel drawn to ministry, to serving others, to making a difference, even if you do not fully understand how or why. This restlessness is God's way of stirring your spirit, awakening you to your calling. He is calling you deeper, pushing you beyond surface-level faith into a life of true surrender. But stepping into this higher purpose requires a decision. Many people feel called, but few are willing to say yes. Because saying yes to God's plan means surrendering your own. It means letting go of your own timeline, your own ambitions, your own fears. It means trusting God even when the path is unclear, even when you do not have all the answers. And this is where many people hesitate. They want the blessing, but they do not want the sacrifice. They want the anointing, but they do not want the process. But you cannot walk in your divine calling without fully surrendering to God. Look at Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He knew the cross was before him. He knew the pain, the suffering, the sacrifice that awaited him. And yet he prayed, "And not my will, but yours be done." That is the level of surrender God is calling you to. A surrender that says, even if it is hard, even if it costs me everything, I will follow you. Because when you fully surrender to God, that is when you will truly experience His power, His provision, and His purpose in your life. God does not just call the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. He calls those who are willing. He calls those who are willing. He calls those who say, "Here I am, Lord. Use me." And when you say yes to Him, He will take you places you never imagined. He will open doors no man can shut. He will lead you into a life of impact, influence, and divine fulfillment. But it all starts with a choice. Will you answer His call? Will you trust Him even when you do not understand? Will you step out in faith, knowing that he who called you is faithful? Because if God has chosen you, he will never leave you. He will walk with you, strengthen you, and equip you for everything he has planned. Your job is not to have all the answers. Your job is to trust the one who does. And when you fully surrender to his will, you will discover that his plans for you are greater than anything you could have ever imagined. When God chooses you for a higher purpose, he begins to refine you. This process is not always comfortable, and it is rarely easy. He strips away everything that does not align with his will. He removes distractions, relationships, habits, and even mindsets that hold you back. At times it may feel like you are losing everything, like the very foundation you once stood on is crumbling beneath you. But this is not destruction. It is transformation. God is breaking away the old to prepare you for the new. He is pruning you, shaping you, molding you into the person he created you to be, because before he can elevate you, he must first refine you. One of the clearest signs that you are chosen by God is that you will go through seasons of isolation. You may feel as though the people who once surrounded you are drifting away. Friendships may end, doors may close, and you may find yourself standing alone in ways you never expected. But understand this, isolation is not rejection, it is preparation. God is setting you apart. When he has a calling on your life, he will remove the voices that distract you so that you can hear his voice more clearly. He will take you into a place of solitude, not to punish you, but to develop you. Look at Moses. He spent years in the wilderness before God called him to lead. Look at David. He was alone tending sheep before he became king. Even Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness before stepping into his ministry. Seasons of isolation are not signs that God has abandoned you. They are signs that he is preparing you for something greater. During this season, you will find that your desires begin to change. The things that once excited you no longer hold the same appeal. The conversations you used to enjoy now feel empty. The places you once felt comfortable and now seem out of place. This is because God is shifting your spirit. He is pulling you away from the things of this world and drawing you closer to him. And while this process can be lonely, it is necessary. Because in order to walk in your higher purpose, you must be willing to leave behind anything that does not align with it. But here is the challenge. Many people resist this process. They cling to old relationships, old habits, and old ways of thinking, afraid to let go. They see God closing doors, but instead of trusting him, they try to force them back open. And in doing so, they delay their own destiny. If you are feeling the pull of separation, do not fight it. Surrender to it. Trust that if God is removing something from your life, it is for a reason. He is not taking away to hurt you. He is taking away to make room for something better. Another sign that God has chosen you is that he will place a deep hunger for him within you. You will find yourself yearning for his presence in a way you never have before. The things of this world will no longer satisfy you. Success, recognition, material things, none of it will bring the fulfillment you seek. Because deep in your spirit, you will know that you are made for more. And this hunger will drive you to seek him with all your heart. You will crave his word, his voice, his guidance. You will find yourself praying more, worshiping more, and desiring to know him on a deeper level. This is the work of the Holy Spirit drawing you closer, pulling you into the destiny he has prepared for you. But be aware, when God starts to call you higher, not everyone will understand. Some people will question you. Some will try to pull you back into your old ways. Some will even oppose you because your transformation challenges them. But you cannot allow the opinions of others to shake you. You were not called to please people. You were called to fulfill God's purpose. When he chooses you, he sets you apart. And sometimes that means walking a path that others do not understand. So do not be discouraged if the road feels lonely at times. Do not doubt your calling just because you do not see the full picture yet. God is working even in the silence. He is leading you, even when you do not see the way. And if you stay faithful, if you continue to trust him, you will step into everything he has prepared for you. Because his plan for your life is greater than anything you could ever imagine. You were not called to be ordinary. You were chosen for something greater. And when you surrender to his will, you will walk in the fullness of your divine destiny. When God chooses you for a higher purpose, he begins to challenge you in ways you never expected. The journey is not always smooth, and the road is not always clear. But one thing is certain, God will not allow you to remain stagnant. He will stretch your faith, push you out of your comfort zone, and lead you into places that require complete dependence on Him. And this is one of the greatest signs that He has called you for something higher. If you are in a season where God is pushing you to trust Him like never before, where you are being asked to step into the unknown without a roadmap, then you are exactly where He wants you to be. Because faith is not about seeing, it is about believing. It is about trusting God even when the path is unclear, even when the outcome is uncertain. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his homeland and go to a place that He would show him. Abraham had no idea where he was going, but he obeyed. He walked by faith, not by sight. And because of his obedience, God made him the father of many nations. This is the kind of faith that God calls you to when He has a higher purpose for your life. He will ask you to move before you see the destination. He will ask you to trust Him even when nothing makes sense. And it is in these moments of obedience that your destiny begins to unfold. But here is the reality. Stepping into your calling will require sacrifice. You cannot hold on to everything and everyone from your past if you want to step into the future God has prepared for you. Some relationships will fall away. Some habits will need to be broken. Some environments will no longer serve you. And while this can be painful, it is necessary. Because God does not just want to bless you, He wants to transform you. He does not just want to take you to a higher level, He wants to make you into a person who is ready to handle that level. And that means refining, molding, and shaping you into His image. You will also notice that as God calls you higher, He will begin to test your character. He will put you in situations that reveal what is really in your heart. Will you remain humble when you are blessed? Will you keep your integrity when no one is watching? Will you trust Him when things do not go your way? Many people want to be used by God, but few are willing to go through the process of being prepared by God. And that is why so many never step into their full calling, because they resist the refining. They resist the pruning. They resist the tests that are meant to shape them. But if you want to walk in your divine purpose, you must be willing to go through the process. Another key sign that God has chosen you is that you will begin to experience spiritual battles like never before. The enemy does not attack those who are not a threat. If you find yourself facing increased opposition, if you feel like you are constantly being attacked in your faith, your mind, or your emotions, it is because the enemy sees what God is doing in your life, and he wants to stop it. But do not be discouraged. Opposition is proof that you are on the right path. If the enemy is fighting you, it is because he is afraid of what God is about to do through you. Look at Joseph. He had a dream that God would use him in a mighty way. But before that dream came to pass, he was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. He went through years of trials, yet he never lost faith. And in the end, God elevated him to a position of power, and his dream was fulfilled. The lesson here is this: if you are facing battles, do not give up. The fight is not a sign that God has forgotten you. It is a sign that He is preparing you. He is strengthening you. He is equipping you for the destiny ahead. But in the midst of this process, you must remain close to God. You must stay in His Word, stay in prayer, and stay obedient to His voice. Because the enemy will try to distract you. He will try to make you doubt your calling. He will try to make you feel unworthy, unqualified, and incapable. But remember this: God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. He does not choose based on ability. He chooses based on availability. If your heart is willing, He will equip you with everything you need to fulfill His purpose. So do not be discouraged by the trials. Do not be afraid of the challenges. Do not resist the process, because every difficulty, every struggle, every moment of refining is preparing you for something greater. Trust that God is in control. Trust that He is working all things together for your good. Trust that if He has called you, He will complete the work He has started in you. Because you were not chosen for an ordinary life. You were chosen for something greater. And if you stay faithful, if you stay committed, you will step into the destiny that God has prepared for you. One of the most significant signs that you are chosen by God for a higher purpose is the deep, unshakable sense that you were created for more. You may not always be able to explain it, and you may not always understand it, but deep within your spirit, You feel that your life is meant to have an impact. This feeling is not arrogance. It is divine calling. It is the Holy Spirit stirring inside you, preparing you for the purpose that God has placed on your life. If you have ever felt restless, like you do not quite fit in with the world around you, it is because God has set you apart. The Bible says in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That means your purpose was established before you even took your first breath. And when God sets you apart, you will never be truly satisfied with anything less than His will for your life. But being chosen by God does not always mean immediate success or recognition. In fact, it often means the opposite. God takes His time in developing those He has called. He is not in a rush. He is more interested in refining your character than in giving you a platform. And that means there will be seasons where you feel hidden. Seasons where it seems like nothing is happening. Seasons where you wonder if God has forgotten about you. But let me tell you, God hides those He is preparing. He keeps them in the secret place, shaping them, molding them, strengthening them. And when the time is right, He reveals them. Look at David. Before he became king, he spent years in the wilderness tending sheep. Before Joseph became a ruler, he spent years as a slave and a prisoner. Before Moses led the Israelites, he spent 40 years in the desert. God is not in a hurry. He develops His chosen ones in obscurity so that when He finally elevates them, they are ready. They are ready. But in these seasons of preparation, you will face tests. God will allow situations to arise that challenge your faith, your patience, and your trust in Him. He will test your ability to obey even when you do not understand. He will test your willingness to remain faithful even when nothing seems to be happening. And He will test your ability to stay humble when you do see progress. Many people fail these tests because they want the promise without the process. They want the reward without the refinement. But God does not work that way. If He has chosen you for something great, He will prepare you for it. And preparation takes time. One of the biggest struggles for those who are chosen is learning to walk by faith and not by sight. Because when God calls you to something greater, He will not always show you the full picture. He will give you just enough light for the next step. And that requires trust. That requires surrender. If you are always looking for certainty, for guarantees, for visible proof, then you will struggle to walk in your calling. Because faith is about believing even when you cannot see. It is about trusting that God is working even when there is no evidence. It is about moving forward in obedience, even when you do not understand where you are going. Another sign that God has chosen you is that you will experience a shift in your desires. The things that once satisfied you will no longer bring you fulfillment. You will lose interest in meaningless distractions. You will feel a deep hunger for more of God. You will find yourself craving time in His presence, seeking His wisdom, longing for His direction. And as you draw closer to Him, He will begin to reveal things to you. Things about yourself, things about your purpose, things about the people around you. Because when God calls you higher, He also calls you deeper. He invites you into a relationship with Him that is more than just religion, more than just routine, more than just obligation. He calls you into a life of intimacy with Him. And when you answer that call, everything changes. But not everyone will understand your transformation. When God starts working in your life, some people will question you. Some will criticize you. Some will try to pull you back into the life you used to live. And this is another test. Will you stay faithful to God even when people do not support you? Will you keep moving forward even when others do not understand? The truth is, when you are chosen, you will outgrow certain relationships. You will outgrow certain mindsets. You will outgrow certain environments, and not everyone will be happy about it. But you must remember, your calling is not about pleasing people. It is about pleasing God. So if you feel like you are in a season of transition, if you feel like God is calling you to something greater, but you do not know exactly what it is, be patient, be faithful. Keep seeking Him, keep trusting Him, because the process may be long, but the promise is worth it. God is not finished with you yet. He is still working. He is still preparing you. And when the time is right, He will open the doors that no one can shut. He will place you exactly where you are meant to be. Because when God chooses you, nothing and no one can stop His plan for your life. When God chooses you for a higher purpose, your life will never be ordinary. You will never be able to settle for less than what He has designed for you. But the journey of living out that purpose is not always easy. It requires faith. It requires endurance. And most of all, it requires surrender. Because being chosen by God does not mean a life free of trials, it means a life of transformation. It means stepping into the unknown, trusting that God will lead the way. It means letting go of your own plans so that His plans can unfold. It means becoming the person He created you to be even when the process is painful. But here is the truth. When God calls you, He equips you. He does not ask you to figure everything out on your own. He does not expect you to have all the answers. All He asks is that you trust Him, that you follow Him, that you remain faithful even when things do not make sense. Because what He is preparing for you is greater than anything you could ever imagine. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 2:9, "No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has conceived what God has prepared for those who love Him." That means whatever you think your purpose is, God's plan is even greater. Whatever dreams you have, God's vision is even bigger. But to step into that calling, you must be willing to wait on His timing, to trust in His process, and to walk by faith not by sight. One of the greatest struggles of being chosen by God is the waiting season. Because when God gives you a vision, when He places a dream in your heart, you expect it to happen right away. But God's timing is not our timing. He is never late, but He is also never early. He moves in the perfect moment, and until that moment comes, He is working on you,